You're listening to Parasearch Radio, news, views and reviews from the world of the paranormal from across the UK and beyond. Find us on Facebook, Twitter and the World Wide Web. Parasearch UK Radio. Parasearch Radio, broadcasting to the UK and beyond.
The views and opinions expressed by presenters and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Parasearch Radio or its affiliates and sponsors. Listener discretion is advised. You're listening to Kerry Greenaway and Mark Manley on the Dark Mirror Paranormal Show, only on Parasearch Radio.
Good evening and welcome to the Dark Mirror Paranormal Show. Now, as usual, tonight I have my lovely Mark Manley. Good evening, Mark.
Good evening, viewers.
You're in fine feckle tonight, aren't you?
Yes, I am. I'm trying to behave tonight. It ain't going to work, but I'm trying to behave.
Oh, God, it's like working with Jay all over again. And good evening, Caz. Caz Rooney is in the room. Good evening, Caz.
Good evening.
How are you?
You sounded perky.
Caz?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm very well. And we're also joined by the lovely Carl Hutchinson. Good evening, Carl. He's gone quiet on me. Carl. Oh, Carl?
I know he's there. He went to the toilet. I bet that's what it is.
Okay.
Now I'm here.
Oh, good. Good evening.
Sorry about that.
Right, now... Oh.
Awkward moment when somebody knocks on your door.
Oh, right, okay. It's not Halloween tonight.
No, it's not. It's Jehovah's Witnesses.
Invite them in. We'll talk about a different subject and we'll see if we can ruin their lives. No, joking. Anyway, tonight we are discussing whether television paranormal shows TV shows, have a detrimental effect on the actual paranormal field. Now, before we begin getting into this, where did we all first start with the paranormal? Now, personally for me, it was I always had an interest, but it was watching Most Haunted.
Yeah, pretty much it. I was always interested and had a few experiences down in the southwest, and it was Most Haunted that kicked it off.
Kaz?
If we're talking in TV terms, then it would be Most Haunted, but I was doing stuff a long time before that.
And Carl?
The first thing I remember watching on TV about the paranormal would be the spoof Michael Aspel show. I can't actually remember the name. Ghost something or other.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah, going back in the time.
That would have been my first experience to ghost shows, and then obviously Most Haunted after that.
Yeah. So, considering everybody moans about them these days, you can't sort of escape it on social media. That's kind of where we all started, was watching television shows. And I have to say, I have a really, really, and I know this might shock a few people, but I have a really, really soft spot for Most Haunted in my heart. The earlier episodes, not so much these days, but, back in the day when I first started, I have a real soft spot. It brought locations, it brought the history, it brought a medium working in a way that you'd not seen mediums generally work before. And it was that thrill factor of people being alone in a dark place, getting scared. And that's really what that was about, wasn't it?
Definitely. I mean, as you say, it was the first couple of series definitely did it for me. And then as we know, different things happened after that. But, the definitely first couple of series had me absolutely glued to it. I had the T-shirts, everything, wanted to go on the shows, a whole lot, And I think it did for a lot of people. And then all of a sudden, all these other shows started cropping up as well.
Yeah. I mean, you've got to remember, they also, I say, we're going back to the earlier series of Most Haunted at this point, but when they had the reveal at the end with people like Phil Wyman, I loved all that. And it showed a different side to investigating, to what you would ever imagine it to. At that point, it definitely opened the field up, don't we? What do we think to this?
Can I actually say something?
You may.
I actually spent, believe it or not, my wedding anniversary at Most Haunted Live at Dover Castle.
At Dover Castle?
Yeah, it went down like a lead balloon, believe me.
But for what it
So
was...
you had things that went bump in the night on your wedding anniversary then?
Literally, we went to Dover Castle for the Most Haunted Live.
Hey, that's amazing.
And
So
it's
was I.
just so busy, and they're just running about, and they're not really paying attention to the people that are there. Honestly.
Caz, I was there as well.
Were you?
Yeah, I was there in the audience, freezing my little whatsits off in the audience.
Was I?
Because it was bloody cold.
It was really cold.
I remember watching that.
We were around the courtyard and we had about 3 or 4 monitors, so we didn't actually know what was going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember that very well.
Yeah.
Well. well, is all I can say to that. But I have to say, every Tuesday night when it went live, me and a group of friends, we used to get together and we used to sit there. This was before I was actually out investigating. Loved it. Absolutely loved that programme. It was our Tuesday night thing when it first went out.
Yeah, used to love it.
And then I learnt more because I actually went on a ghost hunt, which is how we'll class it, with an events company because of that. So for me, when I look at Most Haunted or some of the other programmes that are out there, I kind of have a soft spot for them because that's what got me started in the field. Now, I then went on to watch Taps, and then I went on to watch Ghost Adventures. But other than that, I don't really watch the others. I haven't really sort of sat down and watched Paranormal Lockdown or Ghost Adventures International, or I've watched odd episodes, but not sort of followed the series or Ghost Asylum, and there's so many now, isn't there?
I like Ghost Asylum. I do like Ghost Asylum.
I do actually like Paranormal Lockdown. I do like.
But you can't.
Yeah.
Me personally, like you said, I started off. I watched the spoof, and it was like a weird way of looking at it. Then obviously you get into the field, and then there was nothing in the UK, and you'd be like occasionally late on satellite channels, you'd be watching these shows from the States about the paranormal, and then obviously it became more and more, and then it came on the UK satellite channels and things like that. And yeah, I must admit, everybody that I know of that has or is in the field started off by watching whatever show it was, got into the field by that. They had an interest, they wanted to look at that interest, and they ended up watching these shows. So it was either whether it was Ghost Adventurers, fans, Taps, then going on to all the different other shows. And I think that's where people's interest, if you've got an interest in the shows or interest in the field, and you've got no other way of exploring that, you watch things on TV. So you watch these TV shows.
And it made it more accessible to people, and it actually showed people that you could go out there and do it. There were events companies, when you started to look into it, that you could go and actually experience this for yourself. You wake up quite quickly once you're on one of these events, I would like to point out. It isn't nothing like the television, but that's not the point. The point is it piques your interest enough to make you want to go out there and actually see for yourself what it's all about.
Totally.
Very, very, very true. I have to admit, Most Haunted, I like I say, I used to love it. I used to like watching Carl and Vet and all that. And then, what's the other thing? I like, me and Jay like it. Thank you, Bob. The Bigfoot thing, yes. Bigfoot Hunters. And the asylum one, Ghost Asylum, when they all told that, with the Deep South drawl.
Yeah.
And the beards change as often as their clothes do in the episodes.
So, Caz, you was in the field before the TV shows really were hit mainstream, weren't you?
What had actually happened was I'd had this interest in paranormal since I was really young. So what I used to do, I used to go along to, and they're really hard to find in Scotland, I have to say this, but a spiritualist group, I used to go along to that. And it was actually a woman called Mary Armour. And we used to do stuff with her. We used to go to our development circle. And so we were doing EV. My mother has actually got my first EVP recorder, and she won't give me it back. And this thing is really old, and she's got all the little cassettes and everything, but she won't give me it back. So that's still in her house. And that's going back to when I was a teenager. So
I started in my late 20s, I think. No, mid to late 20s. What do you think of bald?
Carl?
Well, I've been in the field for actively doing stuff for 18, 19, 20 years, really. But I would say that's probably the moment my interest got peaked. But before that, I was watching these shows, and after that, I wanted to go, right, okay, I want to experience what these guys are going, and I went on a public investigation. And at that particular time, the only public investigations were at pubs. So there was
sounds good to me.
Exactly. But there was this a friend of mine. I can remember the time it was a Friday night, like it is tonight, when we were out in a pub, unlike tonight, and somebody mentioned, "Oh, by the way, there's this event happening next week. Do you fancy coming?" And I went, "What's that about?" And they went, "Oh, it's a ghost hunt, and we're going to be, after they close the pub, we'll be able to investigate till 6 o'clock in the morning. Do you fancy coming along? It's a bit of a laugh, blah, 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 blah." I knew the landlord. And I went, "Yeah, cool. Yeah, I'll go along with that." And then from that, it just snowballed.
Yeah. So the question on the table tonight is, do they have a detrimental effect on paranormal investigations? And I sit on the fence on this because I think they're great at bringing new equipment to the fore and showing people what's possible to be doing and the equipment that's around. I think they're great at showing you locations if you haven't got access to go to locations. They're great at that. On the flip side of that, I would like to see a more level of education in the shows now, being as the field has moved on so hugely in more recent times. I don't like screamers. No disrespect.
I
no
do.
disrespect to anybody. Yeah, but that's a different scenario, Mark. Yeah, I mean, I would like to see less of that, particularly from somebody who's been doing it for a while. And she's so much more than that. If you actually speak to Yvette Fielding, she's not completely stupid, although the screaming and running away is getting a little tired. Yeah.
He screams blue bloody murder and then says, "Did you hear that?"
That's why I would like to see less of that. But they've built that show on that, to be fair, and that's part of what that audience is wanting. Do you think?
It's almost entertainment, isn't it?
Can I just, one thing I will say is, I'm going to stay out of that. I'll let Carl talk about that one. But I will say that with certain other shows that I think it gives a false representation of, because every investigation you go to is not packed with action. There's not a lot of things going on. There's a lot of places you'll go to and the only thing you'll catch is a cold, let alone an EVP. And the other thing that really does annoy me and what worries me about this particular thing is you get impressionable teenagers going out and trying this nonsense for themselves. Is a certain person that's very rude and arrogant towards entities and, in inverted commas, demons. Yeah, and you know yourself, when we're on investigations, we're very respectful of what's there. Shouldn't go along being rude and arrogant and offhand and challenging them like that, because no matter how much a TV screen will make you look a big star, if you do it in real life, you're going to end up knackered.
That's a point. Caz?
Well, the thing is, I mean, you go to locations. Perfect example, I went to a location in March. I won't say which one it was, but literally it was as flat as a pancake. And we went in there, and I think all night we got a cough on an EVP, and there was a couple of coins moved, and that was it the whole night. But we came back, and we did say, no, it was really flat, and all we got was a cough on an EVP, and some coins were moved. That was it.
But if that was a TV show, Caz, how boring would that have been? How many viewers do you think really TV would get? Bearing in mind, TV shows are driven by advertising. You only get...
It's reality.
Yeah.
That is the reality of doing it.
No, I don't disagree with you, but the point is you've got to remember the TV shows are TV shows. They're out there for entertainment, so they've got to show something, otherwise it would be quite boring. TV shows rely on ratings, which are driven by advertising, and that's a whole different business side of the television shows. They're not actually trying to show a true representation of an investigation, are they?
No, but you do get people that come along to investigations, guess, and they expect it to be like that. And when it's not like that, you'll get a lot of them, I want my money back, or it's this, and it's that. And it's like, well, no, that's TV, this is reality.
But that's part of educating people.
I have an actual experience of that, because when I done the 3 days at East Drive, that last night 2 ladies turned up that had never been to an investigation, walked in and they're going, oh my God, we were so scared. And I went, well, don't be, everything's fine. And they went, yeah, but we watched the most haunted version last night. And my heart just sank, because I thought, oh God, they're expecting knives and ropes and all sorts. I was like, oh God, no. And it just broke my heart. I thought, oh, I might as well give up.
No, but then they've gone into that wanting that thrill factor, and they got educated in things that they had seen on TV, like equipment, like how to, do an investigation of such. Do you know what I mean? So they probably thoroughly enjoyed the night, even though they didn't get the knives and the rope thing. What do we think?
I think if Caz is going to talk about knives and ropes and things, I think she should keep her private life off the air.
Carl?
Yes.
Your opinion?
Well, I come from sort of a point of view that when you've got a passion for something and you do it week in, week out, and then all of a sudden you get experienced and you see and you watch things on TV, you've got to basically distance yourself between those. It's a bit like that. The thing at the moment which I feel is dragging this field down a little bit is the whole thing about people saying about public investigations, where you pay your money to go along to a public investigation, and what you see on TV and what investigators do on, I don't want to say proper investigations, but when they go on certain cases. Those three elements have the umbrella that is the same field, but are completely different.
Yes.
But people out there seem to think that it's open season to attack public events, TV, private investigations, when they're completely different. Put it this way, if you put a camera on a proper investigation at a location and watch people sit around in the dark for 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 hours or multiple days, you're not going to get people watching it.
No.
So you look at the TV, they go out, they hear reports, they investigate, they research those places and say, right, this is potentially haunted. So they send in, whether it's a team, whether it's Zach, whether it's Nick, whether it's whoever, and they go in and investigate it for a short period of time. They're making a TV show. And at the end of the day, if I'm going to say this nicely, but not in a nasty way, but if nothing happens, nothing happens. You're not going to put that on TV because at the end of the day, your ratings are going to hit the bottom.
You need ratings.
So I think personally, from somebody that's been doing it a long time, who's to more now that I've taken a step back from the field, is you look at it and you got TV is an element, you've got public events or events companies is another element, and then you've got guys that go out for the research, whatever you want to call it, and they do their own things. They should be kept separately, but they're still under the umbrella.
Yeah.
But people out there in the field want to just throw muck, whatever, at the whole of the elements between public events, TV, and private, when they're completely different. That's my view on it.
No, I'm with you on that. I think you're right. Everything seems to be coming under the same umbrella and judged in the same way, and it shouldn't be judged in the same way.
Because public and TV is entertainment purposes as well, so that should come under that. Absolutely.
Public events are something which are giving people that don't do it day in, day out an experience of what happens. So you're going to do stuff on a public event that you potentially wouldn't do on a private case or a team-only event or whatever you want to call it. I struggle to work the words out, to work out what people do away from public events and away from TV, because people always say different things about it.
I think in regards to public, generally, there's more of an education basis. They'll teach you what the equipment is, whereas you only see it working on TV. So you do get a chance to talk to the people running the event and get an education out of it. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And people go to these public events that have never been on an event before. 9 times out of 10, they will see a location that is close to them and say, and they've been watching these TV shows or they've had an interest in the paranormal. They go, hang on, Mavis, there's this thing going on. Do you want to come? Mavis goes, yeah, that's cool. Let's go along. And then they go along and they expect to experience 7 EVPs within 20 minutes, things being thrown across, this happening, when it's not actually that. And I think that's the place where I come from, is I've experienced both sides or 3 sides of that fence. I've done public events, I've done private investigation, I've been lucky enough to do TV work, and each of those elements are under the umbrella of paranormal, but they're completely different.
Yeah. That's where I sit with this. Caz?
I thought you sat on a chair in the front room having a drink.
Yeah, that is tonight.
Caz?
That's every night with her.
I actually think, public events, it depends what you're classing as events. I don't class what I do as events.
Kaz, do you have the general public paying money to come along?
No, I have people who are on my group chip in and we all pay for the location and then we all go.
Then that's not a public event. That's like-minded people going to a location.
We pay exactly what they pay.
Yeah, exactly. So that's like-minded people going to a location. That's not the definition of a public event. A public event or an events team is people going to a location which is holding an experience to the paranormal investigation or whatever you want to call it, whether it's paranormal research or anything like that. Yeah. They're paying money to come along to experience or take a snapshot of what actually happens.
But their interest to 99.99, in fact, I would say 100% of the time, has actually come from a TV show. So in this respect, it hasn't had a detrimental effect on the paranormal because it's allowed people to get out into the field and experience things for themselves and open the field up. And it's brought a huge amount of people that went on a public event, thought, this is still really interesting, not quite what I saw on TV, still really interesting, let me look into this a bit deeper. And actually, what happens is those people are now becoming more serious researchers, investigators, ideas, paratheorists, as a term that's been used before. And TV kickstarts that,
Absolutely.
in my opinion. So,
Totally.
so this is all. We're all being very for TV shows at the moment.
As I say, if it hadn't been for Most Haunted, none of us would be where we are now.
Exactly.
I'll tell you that.
Correct. Absolutely, I agree with you 100%.
Exactly.
So, Kerry and myself, we've done the public events and we've done private. And Caz and I are actually doing a private investigation on behalf of somebody tomorrow night to find out why they had to leave their house because it was so bad for them. So we'll let you know more about that afterwards. But
do you know what?
I know what you mean. Public's totally different.
Caz?
I really have to disagree.
Really?
Because even if it wasn't for TV shows, I would still be doing what I'm doing.
You would, but there's a lot of people that wouldn't be. I wouldn't be.
Really?
Yeah.
Caz, can I ask you a question? Obviously, you've obviously been in the field for how long?
Quite a bit of time.
No, roughly how long? We're talking.
I've been doing things since I was probably about 17.
Well, there you go.
I didn't go public with that
probably,
until about 3 years ago.
Yeah. For TV-wise, you're probably looking in... Okay, you got Ghost Adventurers are on season 14, so that's 14 years.
Yeah.
Before that, Most Haunted, I think there's 17, 18 years. So before 20 years ago, there was nothing on TV. Mm-hmm. Anybody that was interested in the field had an interest in the field.
But
that's what I mean by if it hadn't been for Most Haunted, you wouldn't have people like myself and Kerry and Carl and a few other people. There would be people who've always wanted to do it, but you wouldn't have half as many people as you got now.
Yeah, exactly. You wouldn't have the outlet to go.
I will concede that. But for me personally, I had started doing this when I was about 13, 14. Started really looking at things and getting into things and trying to find out about things. And by the time I was 17, 18, I was in development circles. I was always going to end up doing this.
Mm.
I know I was always going to end up doing this, but for me, that's just the natural path.
Exactly. Once you're on that path from such a young age, you are going to be on that path from such a young age. It's like when I was young, all I wanted to do was play golf. And I got to the point where I played golf professionally, etc., etc., etc. But behind that, I was interested in other things. And I can remember talking to family relatives, and you'd always have the relative that was mad, whatever her name. She's a bit and you talk to her at Christmas or holidays and stuff like that. And I experienced this. I can remember ghost stories. I can remember being told things when I was a very early age. But once I went from a point to another point in my life where other things came into more prominence to me, women, whatever, you sort of realise that, okay, forget that. But then all of a sudden, you then come back to it. Mm-hmm. Whether you've watched a show or whether you haven't watched a show, you always come back to an interest in your life that you've had.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. I can remember, at a very early age, going up to see my auntie and my uncle up in Cleveland, near Middlesbrough, and they telling this ghost story of the house they lived in, and we stayed there Christmas, Easter. We stayed there, and I had experiences in this house, but I didn't even crossed my mind. But then I grew up, and then I experienced. I went to school. I then had other interests. I started playing golf and all other things like that. And then all of a sudden, these things, you experience something, and all of a sudden it comes back at the back of your mind. And went, well, I remember this from this age. So you're always involved. But from my personal view is, when things started appearing in the public domain, you felt that you weren't a nutter, you weren't a complete Looney Tune, because other people were seeing this, other people were experiencing, other people like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where I come from.
So up to now, as I said, it's all been very positive. We've looked at the positives, really, of what paranormal TV shows have done for the field. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to look at the flip side of this and see if there's a negative, a detrimental effect that it's had on the field. So bear with us, guys.
Big word for you today.
I know. I love that word. I've been using it all week. Detrimental. Anyway, let's take a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll have a look at the flip side.
Hello, Harry Price here. Good evening. If there's nothing myself and everybody else enjoy here on the other side more is the sit back and relax and listen to Parasearch Radio with its paranormal news, views and reviews from across the UK and beyond. Make sure to find out more about them on Facebook, Twitter and the World Wide Web, whatever they are, to keep up to date with all their broadcasts throughout the week. And I hope you enjoy them as much as we do over here. Hello? Is anybody there?
Welcome back to the Dark Mirror Show. Tonight we are talking whether or not television paranormal shows have had a detrimental effect on the parafield. And I'm joined by Mark, Caz and Carl to discuss this. And there's loads of people in the chat room, so thank you so much for joining us. And so far, it's all been very positive. We've looked at everything in a very positive way. Now, let's have a look at the flip side.
Cool. That was the flip side. Somebody fall down dead.
My personal bugbear that I feel is, oh God, I really wish I could get it off the face of the earth. Reality paranormal TV shows.
Don't even get me started on that. Just no. Do you mean like paranormal hotel? Something to do with places where you can go and stay for the night, that sort of thing.
Well, I'm talking get reality TV stars on to do an alleged paranormal investigation. In my view, that's a big fat no. I won't even entertain them by watching them.
And you got Joey Essex on there, the likes of whom Peanuts have more intelligent. Yeah, I know.
That for me is a step too far in the paranormal realms of television shows.
Do you know what really bugs me?
Go on.
When you have professional investigators on TV who take members of the public who haven't done investigations, shove them in the most haunted room and say, it's fine, we're watching you, we'll just leave you in there. That really annoys me.
I don't like, for certain TV programmes, the demon factor that's been brought into the field.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know who I'm talking about on that particular one.
Okay.
I do. I'm just saying. So what are we thinking on this? In my personal opinion, that is a detrimental effect on the paranormal field.
As we've already discussed, I think Andy's in the chat room there, and I think he actually missed that bit of the discussion. We have said that it gives people a false sense of reality when it comes to them actually going on investigations, and it's not as they see on the TV.
Yeah.
Although it's good, I understand they're doing it for the ratings. They need the ratings. It's totally separate from a real investigation, but it does kind of bring people's hopes down. My main bugbear thing is, apart from paranormal hotels and stuff like that, is certain American shows where they try and incite a reaction, and I think that is a stupidly bad thing to do. And the use of Ouija boards where they don't explain what could happen if you do it wrong, and this, that, and the other. So inciting an inverted brackets demon to have a pop at you, and then showing people how to use a Ouija board without explaining how to open and close it, I think that's a bad idea.
Yeah.
Carl?
Oh, jeez. Right, I knew you'd come to me. Right. Okay. I'm gonna open up with one factor first. I completely agree with the comments that are made about the shows that celebritize the whole industry with reality stars.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, you have got the other factor that people are interested in reality TV.
True.
And they will watch anything that is reality. So it's, I'm a celebrity, I can cook. I'm a celebrity, I can fix a car. I'm a celebrity, I can pick my nose and whatever. But people that aren't interested in the field will see celebrity in front of the name, whether it's hotel, whether it's this, whether it's that. And I'm not slagging any of these shows off, because I know people that have done these shows very, very closely that I'm friends with, and it's TV. I would like to say that it's TV. It's to do with ratings. It's to do with bums on seats. It's a bit like a film. You need to basically put it out to an audience that is wide. So yes, I can understand that, but I can understand the other point of view, that people that are into the field, that are experienced or whatever you want to call it, are going, oh, come on, you don't want to be seeing these two-bit celebrities, blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, what is the difference between these shows to the shows that we used to watch that brought us into the field? It's a complete change in lifestyle at the moment. Everything today is about the celebrity culture, sadly. So you're going to watch things like Made in Essex or whatever these, like Made in Chelsea or Essex or whatever you call them. I don't know what they are. I've met these people. I haven't got a bloody clue who half of them are. But you've got to remember, this brings in viewers. If you watch these shows and a minority of these people go, hang on, I've been interested in this, but I'm watching that and I'm interested in that, and then go on public events or do their own things, that's a good thing. But I think there's too many people out in the field at the moment that are hardened, whatever you want to call them, that will go, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad, because it's not showing people what a proper investigation is.
I don't disagree with that, but in regards to the reality shows that are on, back in the day, most Haunted used to have celebrities come on as a guest on their shows. That increased their ratings, but they picked celebrities that actually had an interest in the field, not people that are Z-listers, are famous for nothing other than appearing on reality television. And actually, I lost respect. I'm friends with some of these people as well, Carl. And I actually lost respect for some of those people for doing that type of paranormal show. And I put that out there. I was quite incensed, actually.
Yeah, but you've also got to remember one other thing, Kerry, is once you are an investigator or whoever you are, and you get approached by a network and said, would you do this? You say then yes. Then all of a sudden it becomes a network issue, and all of a sudden it's gone from what you were originally told, but you've already signed the paperwork, and you end up, instead of doing what you thought you'd be doing, you're basically babysitting A-list celebrities or whatever you want to call them, doing stuff. And this is one thing I want to point this out, and I'll point this out on a particular show, because I have very, very, very good friends that appeared on the show, and that was Celebrity Haunted Hotel.
Yes.
Filmed in Kent, filmed at Elverley Farm, blah, blah, blah. Forget all that malarkey. But you've got to remember one thing. These guys were there to do what they thought was good for TV. And they were there to basically show their experiments, show what they do on an investigation, but they bring in celebrities. Celebrities, as the name, are going to try and basically, as a celebrity does, bring up the viewing figures. So these celebrities will do what they do. And sadly, some of these people that came on Celebrity Haunted Hotel played up to the camera and made the show a bit of a mockery.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, they did.
They did. And even the
throwing this, throwing whatever.
Yeah, and even the presenter, the team you're talking about, was very unhappy at the end of that. I know that.
Absolutely.
But
absolutely.
Look at the latest offering that we've had on TV, the Fort Readout.
Yeah,
situation. I have
the next show will be at another castle very, very soon.
Which is
we've been to Fort Readout, haven't we?
I've been to Fort Readout.
I think most of us have been to Fort Readout, but that's not really the point. The point is that was one thing. The concept wasn't necessarily a bad concept for Haunted Hotel. However, the way it was executed was wrong. There was so much wrong with that. And I'm not blaming the team for that. That's got to be the TV. But it's gone one step further now into ludicrousness, if that's a word, in regards to what we've seen recently. And I was actually quite shocked the people got involved with that.
Can I pop me two Pennifer in here for a second? I completely agree. Yeah, I think when, as you said, when Most Haunted first started and they had celebrity guests on who actually did have a passion for it and an interest in it and actually knew what they were talking about, that makes it really interesting. And it gets the numbers, it gets bums on seats, etc., etc., etc. When you get, as we're all saying, and in the chat room it's being said, when you get Z-list celebrities who are only famous for going, oh my God, and whipping their backs out on a reality show, and they're playing up for the camera, and not only is it making them look like complete idiots, it's making a mockery of the show, it's making a mockery of the presenters and everybody else on there. I think when you've got stuff like that, the people who put the shows together need to seriously think about not having people like that on there. Like, one of the worst shows I've ever seen was Paranormal Highway with, of all people, Joey Essex. And I'm sorry, my cat's got more intelligence than him. And the whole of that programme, when people were asking him questions, he was going up and down the Paranormal Highway in America in a Humvee, not a Humvee, an RV, which is what I want to do with Jay Lynch and you, which, quite frankly, there's going to be a hell of a lot more intelligence and facts packed into that one.
Can I just stop you there?
Yeah.
Can I just stop you? It wasn't Joey Essex, it was Osborne.
Oh, no, not that one. There was one done with Joey Essex. There was one Joey Essex. It's not the Jack Osborne one. That was actually quite good. But the Joey Essex one, even the cameramen were taking the mick out of him because he was being asked very simple questions.
Oh,
and he he had no clue. And it's like, why make a show like that? Because the ratings were starting to drop. And I've seen a lot of the comments from it, and people are just going, why did you do this? And I completely agree. If you've got people on there that know what they're talking about, have a genuine interest, and they like doing it, and they're popular with people, have them on there. But when you've got people like that on there, just don't bother,
Yeah, to be truthfully honest, I completely agree. And sometimes when you look at these things that come up on the schedules, or you are in the industry and you see these shows that are going to be appearing in the future, you just think, what the bloody hell are they talking about?
Yeah.
And I do apologise about swearing. But one thing you've got to remember is 9 times out of 10, these shows are not aimed at the investigators or the people that are really interested in the paranormal. They're interested in the culture surrounding a celebrity. They're the people that are interested in watching Love Island or Ibiza.
Unfortunately,
Weekend. This is what they want. These people with the bright white teeth that know how to stand in front of a camera, blah, 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 but they're not interested. They just want to see them in different elements of their life, in different elements in life. Paranormal investigators or people that are interested in the field that have been doing a long time aren't going to be watching those shows. But they are going to be watching those shows, and they're going to then go to social media and this program's rubbish, this program blah, blah, this program blah, blah, blah. So there's people out there that will say, I don't watch all these shows, but they're the first people to comment on social media about the shows.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I said. I mean, Kerry and myself and Jay Lynch over in America, we came up a long time ago with the paranormal highway thing with an RV and going up and down and exploring not just haunted places but Bigfoot sightings, this and the other. And because it's us lot, it'd have to be after 9 o'clock at night because there'd be a lot of joking, laughing around, swearing, but there would be a heck of a lot of intelligent things in there and a lot of very, very good research. Things like that, I think, make a good TV for it. Yeah, things when you've just got the teeny boppers following, oh my God, it's Joey. Yeah, I understand why they make it, but it just makes everybody look like a complete twat. You know?
Okay, so guys, this is clearly quite an emotive subject in regards to that, but it's come up 3 or 4 times now in the chat room, so I've got to address it. What do we class as a proper investigation? I mean, we're caning all these TV shows. Or talking about these TV shows in various forms. What do we class as a proper professional investigation?
If you enjoy it and have fun doing it, that's an investigation.
No, I wouldn't say that's a proper paranormal investigation.
No, but if you enjoy doing it and it's your passion and you're with a group of like-minded people and you know what you're doing, you thoroughly research it and you use proper common sense and this, that and the other, that's an investigation. We all know things don't happen all the time,
Correct. You could be a friend and your best mate going out at weekends, walking around graveyards with a video camera, talking about stuff. That's your passion. That's what you do. Or you could be part of an public investigation team where you go out every week, you entertain guests around a location. That's your passion. It's nothing to do with what you do, it's what you have that passion for.
Yeah. Exactly. That makes it a proper investigation, I think.
That's what makes it proper investigation.
Personally, for me, I think if I actually have a CCTV system, I didn't take it last week, I wish I did do, but if you're going into a place and you've got the means to do it, film everything going. Don't
take it tomorrow.
Just put it up. Just put it out.
Yeah, but Caz, can I just say something on that point? You just said that.
Yeah.
Sadly, and this is nothing against anybody in this field, but sadly, as soon as you post any evidence on social media, there's always a keyboard warrior that is going to go, that's rubbish, that's crap, that's blah, that's that. So people out there that are capturing amazing evidence are scared to put it on social media.
Yeah.
And that is a sad thing about it. There's too many people that sit behind their keyboards that think they're the BN, and I'm going to say this from a personal view, and it's nothing to do with this amazing show, this amazing network. This is my
flattery will get you everywhere, mate.
Exactly. But I want to state this. There's too many people out there that will openly attack anything on social media.
Oh, yeah.
And this stops people posting on social media.
Yeah,
because social media is the biggest thing in the world to do about anything, whether it's news, whether it's whatever. This thing is, you post something, it's around the world and people will comment. But there's too many people, particularly with the paranormal, that are open to stand up and shout from the pulpit that this is rubbish, this is crap, this is dust, this is fake photography, this is this. But they don't post anything, but they're quite happy to shout from the rooftops, this is rubbish, this is rubbish, this is rubbish.
Well, of course, I understand that. But, I mean, personally for me, if it's possible, then just have cameras rolling wherever they're rolling. Just let it all roll. Don't edit anything. Just put up everything you've got.
Yeah, but Caz, you come from a background of investigation where you think of these things. A lot of people out there, as to this show, is people are just coming on and think it's Most Haunted or Ghost Adventures or Taps or Ghost Asylum, whatever. They're watching. You're putting this evidence out there and they're going, well, hang on. I've seen 15 million posts saying dust, orbs of dust or shadows of this, that, and the other. You can post this sort of stuff, but you're going to get shot down in flames. And sadly, once you get shot down in flames once, even if you've got the most amazing footage, but you can't back it up, you're going to feel like, why am I posting anything? Why am I doing this? Why am I posting anything on social media? Because every time I post anything, I'm going to get shot down. So you don't post anything. And I know people in this field that will not post anything on social media because of that reason.
Sadly, unless you get Casper, the friendly ghost, lap dancing on Yvette Fielding's lap, no one's going to believe it.
However, there is such a thing called peer. You could put it up to your peers rather than slapping it all over social media. Yeah? People that know what they're talking about, have researched for years and years and years, know tech inside out, know their subjects. So if you do capture something, that's what you would do, rather than slapping it out all over social media. Now, TV shows are after ratings. They will happily slap whatever, fake, real, whatever, out on social media. They're not going to be bothered about putting it out to their peers. But a proper investigation would be more likely to approach a peer group who know what they're doing, who are knowledgeable in the field in regards to what tech can do, what tech can't do, the glitches and all that sort of stuff, then they would slap it out on social media. And if they did then put it out on social media and get that kind of backlash, they could then defend that position.
To be fair, when we've gone on them and we've got videos, I've always, if there's anything found, I've always sent it to you guys first and said, what do you think, before I've put it up on YouTube. But there are a lot of videos I put on the YouTube thing of investigations, which is there, warts and all, so people can see, investigations aren't as portrayed in certain programs,
And how many times have we gone to loggerheads over pieces of footage? And I'm not tech friendly at all.
No, we've gone to loggerheads because I've tried to slap it out on social media, and you've told me that's disgusting. Stop doing it.
That's a different game. That's a different story. No, I mean, I had this with Kerry Ann. The amount of times we would get footage or EVPs or something, and we would be arguing the point for hours. That's part of the fun.
Yeah, you two always do.
That's part of the fun.
I think, Kerry, you've got to remember one thing. People are always going to believe in what they believe. It's all down to their belief system. If they don't believe in the paranormal, you can produce a ghost in a bottle going, hello, I'm Casper the Friendly Ghost. They're not going to believe in it. So they're going to poo-poo it from day one. Same thing about video. There's always going to be somebody that you post and you're going to go, and somebody goes, well, I'll tell you what, your aperture was wrong. It should have been this amount of speed.
Oh,
blah,
God,
blah,
we
blah,
know
blah.
somebody like that.
This brings us on. This actually brings us on to fake footage produced by TV shows. The most famous being the recent Most Haunted with Stuart on the stairs.
Oh, bless him.
Yeah,
Poor old Stuart.
That set the
I'd just
internet...
like to say that Carl wasn't me, okay?
No, that actually set the internet on fire and showed the split down the paranormal field between the people that try to do investigations and properly, they try to be serious about it and know what they're talking about and use the tech as they want, as you should, and a TV show. The ratings went through the roof. The ratings went through the roof on that. And it showed the hardcore difference between people that are in the paranormal field because it's a passion and it's an interest and they're trying to find explanations for things, and fans. It was... You had this huge loggerhead going on between the two sides of the field. On obviously, how many people debunked that? How many people debunked that particular piece of footage? As soon
as it came on,
I think personally, within seconds of that footage coming out, with my only personal view, Stuart walking up the stairs, overexposure, whatever you want to call it, double videotape, or any of the possible explanations that have been put out there, people are going to be going, that's too good, I'm going to prove this is wrong. So they're going to be on their computers, they're going to be relaying it, they're going to be trying to replay it, they're going to be trying to produce their own thing because they have that in their head. Until they see something, all they're going to do is go, no, this is wrong, this is fake, this is rubbish, la 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 la. Bang.
But in saying that, Carl, in fairness, isn't that part of their reputation?
It's part of their reputation, but it's also part of the reputation of other investigators, because you could say that's wrong, but there's other people who are going to say that's right that have the same sort of reputation.
But I'm sorry.
Who says what is right?
But I'm sorry, I spent 3 days in 30 East Drive. They spent one night.
But then that's slightly different. That's slightly different, Caz. That is slightly different.
It's just totally...
That's slightly different
It's for
because
ratings.
they were doing a 7.5 hour live show.
It was for ratings.
Yeah, it's exactly. There you have it.
It's for ratings and money, and it's to make entertainment.
Exactly, but it wasn't real.
What you do is not for ratings. What they do is for ratings. They wouldn't be on the TV for 18, 19 series, whatever they are, if they didn't get the ratings. Drop dead. That is the fundamental thing about the whole subject.
But
If
it's
you don't
not
get
reality,
ratings,
is it?
you're not on the show.
It's not reality, though, is it?
This is the problem you've got. I've spoken to many people that have been on the show. If we're going to talk about it, I'm just going to say MH, okay? I've spoken to many people that have either filmed on MH, appeared on MH for a long period of time. And every single one of that person said that once it became popular, it changed.
Of course.
Yes, I agree with that.
Because they had to live up to it. So whether you believe one person over another person or whatever, whether you believe one person said the first 2 series were real, or whether one person you believe the first 6 series were real, whether you believe the one person that believes everything was real, you've got to remember, as soon as a network gets involved, that is completely different, because they are the ones in control. And I've spoken to a certain person that was on Most Haunted. Sorry, I spoke to a certain person that was on MH that believes that once the network got involved, that a certain person on the show was put under so much pressure that things were faked.
Yeah.
That happened with most of the shows.
That's common knowledge now, though.
It's common knowledge.
That happened in most of the shows. Because that happened with the one in America with Mr. Bilbo Baggins. Because a couple of the guys left it, and I've seen a lot of the interviews with him saying that it was exactly as Carl's just said. All the programs start off with good intentions and really good for a couple of seasons, and then the networks go, well, you need to do this, and you need to do that, and you need to do this. And a lot of the shows now, you've got them redoing takes for one bit because it's not been quite how they want it. And you've got the people who originally started doing it with all the good intentions going, what the hell? And then you've got people leaving the shows because they don't agree with it.
Okay.
But yeah, now it's for ratings.
Okay. That's the TV factor. That's the face you see on the television shows. You see what the network wants you to see, basically, and gives you
the radio shows.
an entertainment factor on the shows. One thing I want to bring on address is these guys who present these shows have been in the field for an awful long time. You should not discount them just because they present a TV show. You should not discount the experience, the knowledge that they have. I think that's been played out.
No.
You know, when you hear some of them do, you don't understand the work that some of these people do, aside from the TV shows and the experience they have. As we've been focusing quite heavily on Most Haunted tonight, there was a situation on television recently regarding a haunted doll. And it was on this morning. And Yvette was on there.
Oh, God, yes.
Her point was valid. Regardless of what you think of her, she had a valid point.
Which is?
She was. And that Annabelle thing, there's a strict set of rules and regulations on how you handle that doll, and a certain person completely bloody ignored it because the TV people said, oh, you're going to do this. And that caused a heck of a lot of people to go up in arms about it.
However, the networks rubbed their hands together with glee because ratings went through the goddamn roof.
Exactly, but that brings us back to what I was saying about when it portrays to highly influential, people who can be influenced, that they go around thinking that's the way you're supposed to do things. That's the bad side.
Not necessarily. I've listened
I
to...
agree and I don't agree.
I think you listen to some of them speak, you listen to read some of their books that they've written, and they're actually hugely knowledgeable about the field. Just because they're on a television programme, and if you watch the television programme, you might not be a fan of that person, but don't discount their experience and their knowledge.
No, you've misheard me. No, I wasn't saying that. Yeah, I completely agree with that about the knowledge and everything like that, because half of the TV programmes is what made me interested in certain apps and certain equipment and got me into it and got me into the tech side, because you know yourself, I'm well into the tech side of it. What I am saying is when you've got people portrayed of doing things badly, that makes it look bad for other people.
Yeah, but you've also got to remember one other thing is that's your point of view coming from where you're coming from. Other people will watch this show and go, oh, wow. They don't have your knowledge or where you're coming from, and they will believe everything they put in thing. You can guarantee if you put one bad word about any show onto social media, you will have a 50-50 split. You'll have either the people going, yeah, you're talking right, blah, blah, or you're going to go, shut up.
Mm-hmm.
People believe what they believe in.
No, that's going on in the chat room at the moment, and it's nice to see. Yeah, no, I totally agree. It is nice to see. But as I said earlier at the very beginning, yeah, these shows, a lot of us poo-poo them, but a lot of these shows, yeah, they're made for money, they're made for ratings, they're made for selling advertising space, and that's it. But if it hadn't been for some of these shows, I don't think a lot of us would be as popular as we are now, and I don't think a lot of us would be in the job that we are now.
Totally agree. Totally, absolutely, 100% wave those flags. I agree with you on that front.
Yeah, I agree
I
with that.
agree with it because I think this is always where I was going to end up. So I can't agree.
One thing I'd like to say about MH, and this is for Carl, when a certain DA was the resident psychic, and then I know, all I can say, I know people that work on the show, I know what happened, but I won't go into that. But all I'll say is, I think as that's just been pointed out to me, when that happened and that person left the show, I think that's when things started to go a bit tits up.
Yeah, because it got to the point where the networks, or whatever you want to call it, went, hang on, there's people out there sitting in their rooms, sitting in their bedrooms, sitting on their sofas that are watching this. Let's get more viewers.
Yeah.
They put pressure on it. And I know the particular episode that everybody talks about where a certain person gave a reading about something which basically was a complete and utter plant. And whatever. And I'm not going into it. I would never go into it because I think
Dick loves family.
It's gone over social media and over the years. But then you talk about somebody else that was on that particular episode, who was on it, appeared on it, who had an experience the same day that this went on, and some absolutely weird and amazing stuff happened that has never been publicised.
Yeah.
It never made the show because there was never a camera on it.
Yeah.
And he doesn't talk about it. He doesn't basically... So you've got to remember, as the disclaimer that pops up more and more nowadays in the UK market, on every American show, this is for entertainment purposes only. You have to take your own views, your own beliefs, and take what you want out of it. So
I've got one thing, and this is to all of you. I like the niche shows, like Ghost Asylum and Haunted Collector, purely because it has a slightly different angle. I know it's for ratings. I'm not daft or anything. But what do you guys think of the slightly different angle? Because it's that gets me interested in it.
Caz?
What about items? Do you think items can have a detrimental effect on people and be haunted, like the dolls?
I think, you can get haunted items. You can get things that people have left bad energy on. You can usually I tell people if they're going to auctions or things, not if they pick something up and it feels really bad, don't buy it. But on TV, talking about dolls and things, I think that's a really bad effect because I've seen one instant where it's been strung out for weeks and weeks and weeks. And then there was a haunted teddy bear, which was also going to get strung out for weeks.
Oh, you gotta love a haunted teddy bear, surely.
Yeah. Especially if it was being married to the doll.
The bloody doll and the teddy bear. Serious.
Well, what do you think of like the when you? What my thing is like with Haunted Collective, when you see them so-called narrow it down to that one thing and then they take that away. What's your take on that sort of thing?
My personal opinion. Now, back in the day, before I became a bit more knowledgeable than I am these days, I always thought that he took a fancy to an object and decided that he wanted it.
A lot of people. Do
you know what I mean? But having said that, the knowledge and the experience that man has, this is John
I've spoken
Zaffis,
to him a few times,
is
and yeah,
absolutely phenomenal. And again, you can't judge it by what you see on the TV. You can't. There's no way you can judge that man on what you see on TV. He
absolutely
is completely.
I've got a lot of time for him actually.
Absolutely, it is a completely different knowledge base to what you see on the TV.
Oh,
it is a public.
Absolutely.
It is a public snapshot of one tiny aspect of the work that man does. The knowledge he has is phenomenal. You can't escape that. And it doesn't. If you just was watching The Haunted Collector and didn't research and didn't know about Johnny Zaffis or the work he does, then yeah, you would start off probably with an opinion like me.
The Haunted Collector.
You know,
he's got alien artifacts as well.
Carl.
That gentleman, as you guys know, that I talk to, I count him as a good friend and whatever. We've had conversations recently when he was over for the Sage Paracon, while we were sharing a golf buggy up to and from wherever. And he was telling me about stuff and what he believes in and stuff like that. And it triggered something that I was told about 6-7 years ago. There's the famous film that happened, which was Haunted in Connecticut.
Yeah.
Based around a child here that moved into a funeral parlour.
Yep.
John Zaffis was the guy that family brought in. That's
right, yeah. He was the one who went up in a loft and came out absolutely shattered.
Yeah. He won't talk about that case. And I've spoken to the mother of the son that was the case, which haunted Connecticut, the son. I've spoken to Carmen Reed. I've spoken to her on several occasions, and she won't talk about certain aspects. What you see on the film, what you see on ghost stories, whatever it was, whatever you want to call it, is just a snapshot. People say, it was over the board, blah, 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 blah. But when you talk to these people actually and what that's not been shown, you question it. You go, wow, well, why isn't that shown on the show? Why isn't that done on? And that's the main thing, is because you've got to remember what you watch on that little screen in your bedroom or that big screen in your lounge or the massive screen in the cinema. You're paying money to sit there to watch it. That is the thing. People pay money to watch these things. People won't pay money, or they won't pay money, whatever you want to say. But you've got to remember, John Zaffis has been doing this for 60-odd years. Yeah. His museum is amazing. You can't.
I always wanted to go there.
You can't get there for the general public. It's invite only.
Yeah.
And I've spoken to Brian, obviously Brian J. Keno and all that sort of stuff. And John gets sent stuff day in, day out, boxes of stuff. And he finds a place that he needs to put it. But you've got certain aspects, like you look at like as you mentioned earlier, about Zach and the Annabelle doll. Is those precautions, you can't touch it, is it because you are looking at the reasons behind to keep up with the legend, because anybody touch it dies in a horrible way, or is that because another reason?
Adds to the mystery.
Adds to the mystery, exactly. So this whole aspect about celebrity, TV, paranormal, I've discussed a lot of things with a lot of these people that appear on the shows. And once you hear them physically talk about the field, you realise how passionate these guys are. And that works in both ways. You either talk to them and you think, wow, these guys are absolutely 100% like us, investigating it, beliefs, blah, blah, blah. Or you think, wow, these people are just in it for that 15 minutes of fame on that TV.
This is very true. Very true. And I still say, I have my own thoughts and things about what is paranormal and what's like different dimensions and aliens and things like that. But that's for another show.
That's a completely different topic.
Yeah.
It is, but I managed to get the word aliens in there, Kerry, so yeah.
Oh, every bloody show. So, guys, how do we think, then, that the TV shows could improve? Do we think they can improve, or are we just happy with what they're doing? Do we think they could improve them? Do we think that there's an ideal format for a show that would please every side of the paranormal?
If you mixed all the shows together and you took the best bits out of all the shows, you'd have a very entertaining show. Not real at all, but it would be a lot more entertaining than some of the shows, I think, myself personally.
Carl?
I've thought about this a lot over the years and everything like this. What produces a great show? If you look at every format of show, paranormal show that is on the network at the moment, has the same aspect, has the same format. You have the build-up, you have the walk-around, you have the investigation, then you have the disclosure. That is the format of every paranormal show on network. Job done. Me personally, I personally think that you need to switch that up slightly. Not go so much for the walk around, not go so much about the history, because 9 times out of 10, you watch these shows, everybody knows the history of them.
I think that's an integral part of it.
It is, but at the end of the day, you look at Ghost Adventurers, Taps, Stranded, and another.
GHI was another good one.
Yeah, they've all investigated the same location, but they've always spun the history in a different way. Which is up to them, because that's what they do. That they want to sound there. I just think the whole mixing pot of a TV show potentially could be mixed up to produce a better format. If I knew that format, I would be sitting in Zach's pool, smoking a cigar, going, oi, security, kick Zach out of my house. But I haven't come up with that format, and that gentleman hasn't come up with that format, because at the end of the day, Ghost Adventures was Nick's idea. He was just the front man. He was a wedding singer, but everybody knows that. But those guys have got the element. Ghost Adventures have got the element. They know how to spin it. They know how to make a good show. And sadly, and I'm probably going to get shot down in flames, and I'm probably going to get hate Twitters, hate Facebook messages, but most haunted have got exactly the same in the UK. If I wanted to do one thing and one thing different, and I think it's happening more and more recently over the last couple of months, is to do full-on live investigation, no edit, no whatever, Facebook Live or whatever you want to go, like UK Haunted guys have just done recently, whatever, the other team that did it on Quest or whatever, and do live investigations, That, I think, potentially is the way forward. But live investigations, not on their Facebook, but on the TV itself. It's a bit like when you, me, whatever, watched Most Haunted for the first time. We had a laptop with all the locked-off cameras, and we were watching the TV.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
Why doesn't that happen now? Because the technology is there, that we're doing it all on the smart TV. So in the corner, you've got the locked-off cameras on the live shot there. And do it a live. None of this edited, none of this thing, whatever, no breaks for whatever, no advert breaks, just go straight in, live investigation. A bit like what the guys from Mickey and Alex did at UK Haunted on Really at Tutbury Castle. Complete live. No adverts, no breaks, whatever. You saw what they saw. You saw the walk, you saw the walk between one location to another, you saw them interacting, blah, blah, blah. And I think that is the way that you're going to stop people slagging off these live shows.
I agree with Carl on that.
Yeah, that's a good idea, because then they can't turn around and say, oh, you've edited this, oh, you've put this in, or you've put that in, and it's like, well, no, actually, because you can see that.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking about tomorrow possibly live streaming on Twitter. I don't know yet, but I've got to speak to all involved.
Mark, just one other thing, just saying that, and then I'll shut up, because I think I've been talking too much. But one good thing about it is it's live, it's unedited, you're watching it live as it goes out on terrestrial TV, not on a Facebook, not on whatever, but it's on terrestrial TV. But then you do the review afterwards.
Yeah.
Like a follow-up show.
Yeah, it's like a follow-up show. Everybody sees what's happened. And then after that fact, because it's gone out live, non-edited, you can then look and see, did you capture anything EVP behind the scenes? Was there any light monitors? And you can follow it up. So you're doing a whole 360. You've gone from straight to live, then to review, instead of recorded, edit, live, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I think that there is scope in the paranormal TV world. I think there's definitely room for another show in a different format. I think
it should have us on it.
Well,
no.
I've got a voice for radio, but not a face for TV.
Been there, done that, got the t-shirt. Didn't want to go forward.
Let me on. I won't let you edit anything.
I do think that what you see on the public, the TV, even down to how people present themselves personality-wise, isn't a true representation of normal life, reality, however you want to class it as. Yeah, so I think you have to be very aware of that. I think there's definitely room for a different formatting in, paranormal TV shows. I think there is a field big enough now for it to be able to be moved on, and not in the way it's moving on in regard to the Z-listers reality side of things. I think that there's definitely room for a more serious paranormal show. Definitely think that. But there is a growing trend that I want to bring to the table at this point. YouTube. Many teams now have a YouTube channel where they actually produce their own little episodes of investigations that they've done. Now, are there any on YouTube that you subscribe to or watch on a regular basis?
Ooh.
Who's that to?
Any of you?
Who's going first?
Because I quite like, for an American show, I quite like the Oddity Files.
Personally, there are some that I watch if I've got the time, and there's one, a good friend of ours down in Somerset. He's got one, and I watch that sometimes. But to be absolutely honest, I'm normally too busy to watch it. But if I do, I have set few that I do.
Caz?
I personally think if you're going to do a show, you need to put everything up. Everything.
So is there any show on YouTube that you like from a team that you watch on a regular basis that do their own little episodes?
No.
Carl?
There's a couple.
Okay, are you prepared to divulge?
No, I'm just thinking you're saying completely live, not edited. There's very few of those on YouTube that won't put out raw footage. There's a couple of teams that I've worked with that I've seen what goes on behind the scenes and what goes on YouTube. That's a difficult one. I think there's not many people that will put out raw footage, unedited, on whatever, to see scratching bums, swearing, doing all that sort of malarkey. They won't put it out on footage. There's going to be some sort of edited, whether it's down to swearing, like I said, scratching arses, fingering buttholes, whatever.
Okay, so maybe for those people that get all riled up about the television paranormal shows, the big ones, why not check some of the YouTube episodes out that are out there, the teams that are putting out? Maybe there's something better out there for you on YouTube. It's definite trend that's growing, particularly out from the Americas. You know, there's some teams that regularly put episodes out. So maybe that's a way forward for people.
I think there is a way forward, but I think YouTube is potentially a bigger negative grounding than the terrestrial, because anybody can see anybody on YouTube, whatever you post, and that brings out the keyboard warriors, like we discussed earlier. And I know from a certain point of view, there's people out there that you post stuff that is completely and utterly accurate. It's what happened. You haven't edited. You post it, and there's somebody out there has a grudge or a axe to grind that will negatively react to that and get their people to react the same way. That is the problem I think you've got when you've got putting anything out there, whether it's this, that, and the other. There's always going to be that group of people that are going to go, "Oh, that's not real."
And you hold your integrity and you don't bother responding to keyboard warriors.
Yes, but passing that back to you, Kerry.
Yeah, let's not do that.
No, I'm going to pass it back to you. If you knew you did an absolutely top-notch show and there's a load of people absolutely negatively slating your show because of other reasons apart from your show, how do you feel?
I don't disagree with you. It's incredibly hard to take, and you do have to have a level of thick skin. Which exactly. I'm the world's worst for being sensitive about things. You know what I mean? However, I also like to. I pride myself on being able to see things from every side, not just one personal side. And if I think something's wrong, I'll research it. I'll actually put the legwork in and do my own research if it bothers me that badly about something somebody's put out. However, I'm not a keyboard warrior. I wouldn't shoot someone down in flames just for the sake of it. So that's why I get upset about things, is when someone calls me out on something and they've not done the legwork. They're just being nasty for nasty's sake. That's when that really, really gets my go. That's why I would never, ever be very good as somebody high profile in the public image, because I don't think I'd be able to mentally cope with the negativity that you sometimes get that is levelled at you. You know, that's personal. That's how I would personally react to it. Would I be able to sit back and not say something? Probably not, if I thought they were really out of order. But I would show that I'd done my work.
I think, Matt, you've hit the nail on the head there, Kerry, is that once you put your head above the parapet into social media, and then above that to get on TV, and then above that to get on a regular show, you're always going to be up for attack.
True.
You have to be a stern and a strong character person to take that, because there's always going to be somebody that's going to be trying to knock you down.
Yeah.
I've spoken to people in the past that have experienced this, and it is absolutely horrifying to see the negative tweets, messages, or whatever that people get for just appearing on a 42 or whatever size TV you've got in your bedroom, your house, or whatever, just because you appear on TV, the negative comments you get because you appear on that TV.
Can I jump in there a second, just to say something?
Go for it.
And it's actually it's to do with what you guys are talking about. It's not to do with the haunted stuff, but as you guys know, I teach martial arts. I have been in a couple of movies a long time ago. I'm not going to say what, when, where, how, who, but because I'm disabled, I've had the keyboard warriors go, you can't do this and you can't do that, and we're after 9 p.m, so there's going to be a bit of swearing. You don't know jack shit. And it's only when I've done seminars or I've gone to some army courses, because I'm actually, with the army and that, and I've done the stuff, and it's only then when you've actually proved that they shut up. But it's no matter what you do, what business you do, no matter what it is, you are always going to get naysayers and idiots out there who know better. And it doesn't really matter how popular you are. Somebody's going to know better.
Mark, I will tell you something now which I've never openly admitted. People that are close to me know this, but you guys know of, and everybody that, well, not everybody, but people that are interested, that watch a certain show, know that I appeared on one episode of Ghost Adventurers in the UK for a period of time. 95% of that time was totally and utterly positive, to the point of being over positive. Slightly weird, but that's a different show. I'll talk about that. But there's that 5% that reacted to me being on that show. Me being an overlarge person, or as most people will say, a fat bastard. And those people reacting because I was on their TV screens.
Exactly, you know what I mean. Yeah.
Exactly, and I had so much negativity that, yes, this is a big part of my paranormal career that I've appeared on Ghost Adventurers. Do I openly go, oh, tell you what, my name's Carl Hutchinson and I've been on Ghost Adventurers? No, I bloody well don't. Because I've had the negative side of it. I've had, I'll tell you what, if I read every negative comment that I saw shortly after the episode aired in 2012, just after the Olympics, as it was going out just after the Olympics, I would be swinging off a frigging rope by now.
Yeah, you do have to develop a very, very thick skin.
But this is why I don't believe I could do it day in, day out, 24/7. Because yes, I enjoyed every moment of it. Yes, I put my hands up until the moment I shook the hands of the people. I didn't have a clue who I was actually going to meet that day when I walked Fort Horsted, which is, people just find quite amazingly funny that I had no idea who I was actually going to go and see, but I got a phone call. It's a famous story. I hung up on Jeff Belanger, the researcher of Ghost Adventures, 3 times and called him whatever. But that's the fact, because I didn't have a bloody clue what was going on. But the negative from that, if we're talking about the TV and everything like that, there's a big negative about being on TV. And I've experienced it, in a small point of view. I was on a 45-minute episode of Ghost Adventurers that occasionally gets repeated. And I've been on a couple of special shows. It's horrible. You get so much negativity. It's my Twitter account went from about 78 followers on my Twitter account. Zach mentioned my name once in a Twitter just before the show went live back in 2012. I went from 72 to over 1,000.
Wow.
In 6 hours. Most of them were the whole, do you know Zach, blah, 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 can you introduce me to Zach, blah, blah, blah. A couple of them, which were quite amusing, which Kerry knows about. I got, I think, 4 proposals. Various different things. But you are on one of these shows, shows that are the biggest shows in the paranormal industry. You're big news. And I didn't know what I was going. I'd just been the sort of guy that went on to haunted locations, did my stuff, did whatever. And then I appear on this show. And to be truthful, I put my hand on my heart. At that particular moment in time, I didn't know who Zach, Aaron or Nick were. Which I know is probably hard to believe, being into the paranormal. But I wasn't into that at that particular moment. And then it blew up in my face. And the negative side came out. And that's the thing that you talk about TV shows and paranormal and everything like that. And I'm just a bit part of a split second of 4.5 minutes or whatever you want to say. These guys live it, breathe it, day in, day out. Whether you're a vet feeling, Carl Beatty, Zach Bagans, Aaron Goodwin, anybody else in this field, there must be so much negativity, but there also must be so much positivity as well, and how you live up to that. And I'm going to shut up now.
And on that note, we have run over by half an hour, and we've probably could and probably will, after the show, go on talking a lot more. But it's been a fascinating topic. It's something I wanted to bring to the table because, like we said right at the very beginning of the show, which a lot of people agreed with, if it wasn't for paranormal TV shows, 99.9% of us probably wouldn't have actually been in this field doing what we do. So I think generally, yeah, there are things we could tweak about it. There are things we would change about it. There are things that we would want to get rid of in the TV world. But generally, they're a good laugh to watch, aren't they?
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. And at the end of the day, if you don't like them, you're there swearing and cursing at the TV, but you feel good about yourself when it's finished.
And you can always switch it off if you don't like it, guys.
Absolutely.
You
can always
have
hit
the
that.
power. You have the choice. Never forget, you have the choice. And on that note, I'd like to thank everybody. The chat room has been on fire tonight. Thank you so much for everybody that's joined us in the chat room. Thank you, guys, for joining me and having such an interesting discussion.
Yeah, thanks for having a listen in tonight, guys. It's actually been nice to see you all chatting and discussing it amongst yourselves. And keep it up. Keep up the good work.
Keep up the good work. So, now, on Sunday evening, I'm interviewing a lovely lady from Holland called Elizabeth Coet. I met her recently at Paraforce, and she is just awesome. Carl, you know Elizabeth, don't you?
I do know. Ask her about sparkly poo.
I know what that's about. I'm also joined by Claire Hinks, and I do believe that Ashley Nibbett is going to be joining me in the studio as well to talk everything paranormal with Elizabeth. You want to have a listen to that show. She's absolutely awesome. And it shows you a little bit about how people in Europe, we don't often hear from the Europe contingency on the paranormal field. So it's going to be nice to hear a little bit from the Europeans in the paranormal field. So join me on Sunday night for 9 p.m. Next week,
and
we have
also, I've had an idea for next week's show.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, God.
Not aliens! There you go, did it again.
Really?
But because it's the run-up to Christmas, why don't we start doing the odd show, sort of like every 2 or 3 weeks, just on the run-up to Christmas, which has a slightly Christmas theme, like Krampus and stuff like that?
Well, we are, but that's going to start in December because Christmas doesn't start until December.
Christmas starts when I say so,
I'm
Daniel.
so sorry, everybody, but Christmas in November, I don't think so.
No,
I don't like you. I do not like you.
I'm sorry, I don't care. I've got Christmas tunes on at work already at the moment, and already I am literally sick to death of kissing Santa Claus under the Christmas tree.
What you do in your private life
drives me crazy. Absolutely driving me crazy. So Christmas will start in December. Next week, we're talking about spirit animals. If you remember, we agreed with this.
Oh, you were drunk at the time.
Oh, I so wasn't. We're going to be talking about spirit animals next week on the Dark Mirror Show. Anyway, thank you all so much for joining us. And on that note, all I can say is...
Thank you, Carl and Caz.
Yeah, thank you, Carl and Caz, for joining us. And thank you so much. Don't forget, shows going out from Sunday through to Friday next week. And on that note, farewell. Have a good week, guys.
Bye.
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 Thank you for listening. Don't forget to join us for more shows throughout the week. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and the World Wide Web to keep up to date with all the shows right here on Parasearch Radio.